Hi, welcome back. Today we will continue with our video series to help you to understand our blogs and our content, what we have on the Microsoft side of community and also on SAP side of community, just to, together with you, help you to understand how to configure your identity management or trust between identity management for SAP side and Microsoft side. In the first session, we discussed about business technology platform. Then slowly we moved the same more or less configuration, but we configured that identity management in direction with SAP backend systems. And today we're going in next step. And Martin, what is our next step? What we will try to configure today?
Good point there, Robert. Today is going to be about making the next level, so to say. Yeah.
Okay.
That next level will be putting all the so to say the authentication topics, or at least the ones that are more effort, yeah, towards SAP, into one single place, so that we can solve it once, but consume as often as we want, yeah, from any client that we can think of, yeah. So there could be anything outside of Azure even, yeah, but authenticated by Azure AD, yeah, or even not without it, yeah. Or the PaaS services that Microsoft has, like Azure App Services, yeah, or something like the functions, yeah. But our example today will be again using Postman, yeah. But we'll make our way into an API management solution, yeah, which boxes all the complexity in one place, yeah.
Okay, just to note, we will not go through API management installation and basic configuration. So we already did that because there's something like more than half an hour we need for that. Not just for curation, because we need to way that API management is deployed. And so you can rely on our very good documentation how to set up that. What we just did, we just proved before this session is our backend system is running, is API management is responding, and that's all. So now you will see is everything is configured properly, and share that with you if we face some issues. So before that, I think, Martin, we forget our logos.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah?
We can't do anything
recognition mark, yeah. So feel free to start.
All right, so let me share the screen. So today is 103B, yeah, and again focus on authentication topics, but from the API management perspective. And we will go into walk through the steps to check connectivity first, yeah, like the things that we did before. So over here I have the API management instance, and when you have a CAL system, you will have to make sure that your certificate chain is honored correctly, yeah. And let me quickly go there from here. Where was it? No, not there. Never started. Okay, so this is also important, yeah. Make sure when you deploy it, yeah, this is VNet integrated so that we have line of sight to your SAP system, which is usually private. Yeah, that there are no configuration issues in your network towards the PaaS environment at Microsoft. Yeah? So all of those need to be green. Yeah? Otherwise, take care of those first. Then it's not about custom domain. Also not about certificates. My God, I just overlooked it. Backend status. Okay. I just went in here and configured my runtime URL, which is just the private IP path of the SAP server, and said that everything behind the SAP namespace you can trust, yeah, because we didn't care about any certificate setup there, yeah. So, but we need to make sure that API management doesn't throw an error at that, yeah. So I switched off the validation here. Yeah? The next thing is we are checking if we have access from the network where the API management is deployed, yeah, towards where the SAP system and your data services are sitting. Yeah? There's a service that SAP offers, which is called Ping, yeah, which can be activated, yeah, through SICF, like we navigated last time, yeah. And we are using the SAP public ping service now to test if we have everything set up, yeah, before we move anything further. So we are now using the API management exposed service. You can see we get 200 OK and SAP responded with server reached. Yeah? So networking wise, everything is good. We're good to proceed.
So maybe just a little bit to explain how our network is organized. Of course, we have one network, one virtual network where SAP system is running. It's deployed by CAL, SAP Cloud Appliance Library. And in that network, we also configure API manager with what is Microsoft Azure Managed Service. And of course, we can somehow establish connection over internet between these two systems, which is a little bit tricky for demo. Maybe it's okay. But what we did, we create a private connection with told the manager instance, hey, you are actually allowed to communicate only with this internal connection, what is now Martin sharing on the screen, that we have an internal connection between API management, managed service, and our network. And this is exactly what Martin just proved that it's working, that our API management can call the API on the SAP side, and we receive 200 OK.
Exactly, yeah. But we still have something like a hybrid mode. Yeah. So this API management is VNet integrated with the CAL network, but it's also still exposing an external endpoint.
Exactly.
Yeah. So we are calling this from the internet still, but only the API management. The SAP system is still private. Yeah. Of course, you can also switch this to internal, but then you need to deal with VPNs and other stuff also. Yeah. Which is not that important to us today, so we are keeping it simple for us. Yeah? All right. So over here, we are going to build upon the stage we reached last time. And but this time we are actually throwing away everything that is public facing. Yeah. So if you have a CAL system and you have a public IP there, yeah, you can delete it to prove your point, yeah, that this is working. And then we are going to actually use one of the data services and expose it through API management. Yeah? And once we're happy with that, we're moving the principal propagation that we did last time with 4 calls in Postman, and moved all of those into the API management using a policy, and then register a client that only calls the OData service then on the API management only. Yeah. So we need then only one trust relationship. Yeah. And we don't care anymore about all of those specifics for principal propagation. Yeah? Again, there's Postman collection provided to make it as easy as possible to follow along. All right. So then we move into the system and get ourselves the metadata description for our endpoint. And the one that we can reuse the one that we had last time. And the easiest way of doing that is just to provide the metadata endpoint to retrieve. Yeah, but you can also do this with the gateway client on the SAP backend. Yeah, there's multiple ways to actually get the description. Yeah. There we go. So now we have a large XML, yeah, that describes the service. And we have the need to convert that, yeah, because on the API management side, we're dealing with a certain set of standards, yeah. And as of today, OpenAPI is the one that you would need to get all data into the system, yeah. So of course, we need to convert from metadata to OpenAPI. Yeah? And the way to do that, there's a repo maintained by the Oasis Foundation. Yeah? I have linked them from here. And that's an open source community that's driven by multiple vendors and individuals. And for instance, Ralf Handel here is from SAP. Yeah? But there are also people from Microsoft who together drive this OData initiative forward. Yeah? And since we noticed that this is a little hard to set up, yeah, because here's a description on Node.js and libraries and local installation, yeah, we provided this as a website, yeah, so that you can actually just paste and good to go. Yeah. Yeah, so I just pasted my XML that I copied from before. Yeah, so this is still the service. And on the optional parameters, I'm going to provide my actual host name, yeah, so that the result is already pre-configured. But of course, you don't need to do that. Yeah, then you just get the defaults here and you change locally. Yeah, so if you don't want to provide this on a public website. Yeah. This was the one, right, Robert? Getting the URL on here. All right, looks good. And the convert button is here. And you see down on the bottom right, it says detected OData version 2. Yeah. So there's some logic in there based on the inputs. So now what you now get is the same service, but described in a different definition, which is the Open API. Yeah. I will copy this and create a file from it. Not a folder, a file. I just pasted everything that was in there in here. Yeah. Saved it. And now we can import. Actually, I forgot one thing. To make it even easier, we added some more overrides, yeah, because the metadata for OData contains a couple more things that OpenAPI or at least the conversion logic maintained by Oasis doesn't anticipate. Yeah, one of them being having a separate entry for the metadata endpoint, yeah, and also for the root collection. Yeah, so I'm going to switch that one on and do it again. That's right. There we go. So selecting now from file, desktop.
So we are converting from hello, I'm open data to hello, I'm open API. Actually.
Yeah, you could say that. And here you can now decide if you want your own API suffix. Yeah, you could do now towel if you wanted. Yeah, but very often I recommend using the same path that SAP has, because for instance, if you use a discovery service from the SAP gateway, yeah, and you have BTP, Business Technology Platform, calling it, yeah, then the paths wouldn't match anymore, and then you might have issues there. Yeah. So if there's no translation logic in between, yeah, it makes it easier for you, yeah, if you keep the same paths. So I'm copying again from here. Gives me the same suffix. Okay, so now you see we get all the things that this OData service offers, yeah, and since we converted to Open API, it's all brought into here, yeah. So at this point, we already have exposed this the service, yeah, through API management. Yeah. So let's quickly test the same. And we need an authorization header to make that work. So let's take it from Postman like we did last time. So here for this one, we also maintained basic out, so I can get the authorization header from here. All right. I need to move you, Robert. You're on the way here. Okay, so something missing. Okay, we see this is the call that was made. Okay, so the port that we configured here seems to be wrong. Yeah, we already know from Postman that this is probably correct because it's 44300. Where did I mess that up, Robert? Did you see? Yeah, I provided no port. I probably did that wrong because I didn't provide it here. Yeah?
Okay.
Yeah, so I should have done to override. Yeah, I got the default port.
Then
yeah.
he will take it. Okay.
Yeah. Okay, so now we can try once more. Aha, 200, okay. And there's already the XML representation, yeah, from the service. Okay, at this point, we're good to go into the principal propagation topic. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we now just replaced in our last example with Postman with API management. So we are now on the same level from that perspective.
From the call sequence, yes,
Yep.
but we didn't do any OAuth yet. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's why I did the basic out authorization here to check if the rest is working properly. Yeah. So next we need to move into the principal propagation part of it. Yeah. So when we look at this, yeah, so we checked off this part now. Yeah. Next, we're going to clone this repo so that we can run this shell, this bash script. Yeah. And I think I didn't install a Git client on this machine yet. So should we quickly do that?
Pause it here and just.
It's going to be fast anyway. So. Sure, give me everything. So we keep all the defaults. And once that's done, I can run git clone. So I get the scripts to fill out. I recommend doing it like this because last time I got encoding issues with the bash script when I ran this from the portal directly in Azure CLI. Okay. PowerShell. So now let's put it on the desktop.
The report.
And I'm going to run git clone for the URL I copied before. Yeah. So this is from the website, from the 100feetb README.
Okay, now I can just put. And I think I will continue here. Okay, now we installed the Git, and now we are cloning the repo.
Mm-hmm.
Martin, now you can continue. I think start before installation.
Yeah. So we're here now,
Great.
and we want to run this bash script. Yeah. And let's open it with Notepad. There we go. And you might remember those parameters, yeah?
Parameters, exactly.
So let's get them from here. Because API management now needs to know exactly the same things that we required on Postman to move forward. Yeah? But it also wants to know now the API management service name for some of the URLs there, but the other parameters are the same. Yeah? So we can already keep the Azure AD tenant ID. We already have the SAP resource. We also have the OAuth client ID, just towel and the password. And we have the scope. And we also have the endpoints, yeah, for the OAuth token endpoint on the OAuth server. API management, we don't have resolution for this hostname, so we need to give it the IP address. Yeah. Okay. The refresh time is 2 years by default. Yeah. So you can calculate the number of seconds for 2 years, or we can keep it for our purpose right now the same as the expiry of the normal token, yeah, which is 1 hour. Okay, so that means we are missing the subscription, and
I pasted everything in chat, so you have a resource group name and.
So we collect them from.
Have it in chat. I put.
Oh, you already provided them.
Oh, you can also put it from. Take it from here.
That's very nice of you, Robert. So the
first is resource group name.
and the API management service name.
So this is the name what we configure when we install the API.
Yeah, it's on the overview of the instance. We can have a quick look there. here. So when we navigate here, so we can get the resource group from here, we get the subscription ID from here, and also the name here up top. Okay, so far so good. That leaves only those two entries here to be filled out. Everything else we already have. And this is now about separating the client from the principal propagation. And to do that, we need to register API management as its own application. Yeah? And we have a drawing there on the repo that we just cloned before. Let me. Yeah, this is what we're basically doing right now. Yeah, so 103A was about using the front end and the back end as a pair directly. Now we're introducing this middle layer, yeah, the API management. So we need to create this app registration now and move the trust relationship into here, and also then have a trust relationship between those two here. Yeah. All right. So new registration.
Azure Active Directory.
Okay. And let's have a second tab where we can then copy over the things that we already have for the other client to make that transition. Okay, this is the one. We can already move this ID into here. Okay, I can't add here yet.
So this is the same procedure what we did also last time.
Yeah, exactly. You only have to do it correctly. Yeah, so there are some steps where it can go wrong. Yeah. So we also need a scope. And let's maybe do it like this first. Keep the URI. We need to give it a scope. And now I will move the client also here as trusted. So what else do we have here in the client? The authentication here can stay because we still need to authenticate at this client. Yeah. What permissions does it have? Oh, okay, so we will require these for the other one. Yeah. And this is also exposing something that we need to call from Postman, for instance. Yeah. All right. So then we certificate and secret as well. And in here we are looking for the client ID and the secret for the middle tier. Yeah. So let's move into here and provide a certificate, a client secret. Yeah. All right. So copying the secrets. getting the ID from here. All right.